If you're wondering where Kyle is, we honestly don't know. Last I heard from him, he'd purchased a copy of Crash Bash, and I think this is just a little reminder, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a sign if something isn't okay, so check in on your friends every once in a while, because if they send you a message saying they bought Crash Bash, that's obviously a cry for help. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the HGO podcast. I'm Ethan, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Hunter. Hey Hunter, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
And this week, ladies and gentlemen, we are in full blueprints mode, and what I mean by that is we're doing a randomly generated podcast this week. We are going to talk about blueprints, and then who knows what's going to happen. Did we not prepare, Hunter? We couldn't possibly come in as unprepared, right? Right?
Nah, us never. We're always the picture of preparedness.
I mean, we've been doing this for so long now, you'd assume that we'd be able to just crank out a high-quality, beautiful podcast without even, breaking a sweat. We don't need a topic. We'll just find something in the air and pluck it and just roll with it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
If you're wondering where Kyle is, we honestly don't know. Last I heard from him, he'd purchased a copy of Crash Bash, and I think this is just a little reminder, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a sign if something isn't okay, so check in on your friends every once in a while, because if they send you a message saying they bought Crash Bash, that's obviously a cry for help, check in, okay? Do your best part. I'm sure I'll be back at some point soon, but yeah. I just think it's really funny. We were like, what are we going to do this week? Kyle is just like, I bought Crash Bash. I'm like, great, you have fun, buddy. Go get him, man. Go get him. But yeah, we're just going to talk about blueprints because it's quite interesting. Hunter, you've been playing it. It's kind of become a bit of a critical darling, really, recently, as it's come out. Doing really well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm sure we're just going to talk about whatever we can think about. I've been playing a couple of games, been replaying a couple of games. We'll talk about whatever comes up, really. So, yeah, if you're in for a bit of a more chill podcast this week, come on in, sit down. I think it's nice to have a bit of a chill week after the last couple of weeks because, it's been a bit hectic.
The insanity of the last week, yeah.
Which keeps carrying on, it's just like, I feel like we're just in a never-ending cycle, we're still doing will they, won't they, are the Switch 2 games physical, are they not, what is a game key card, why do they keep showing up, why is Naughty Dog re-releasing The Last of Us for the 7th time? These are all great questions that have come from this week, but unfortunately, I don't feel like talking about them, so we'll talk about other things instead. But, Blueprints, let's get straight into it, right? Blueprints, Hunter. It is a game.
Yeah, so it's this puzzle game where the object is essentially to build out this manor that you're heading into. And, every time you walk up to a door, you get the choice between 3 different rooms to generate. As far as, before I get into the nitty-gritty there, it was funny hearing positive reviews about this because a lot of times with puzzle games, I'm like heads or tails on them as far as the ones that people seem to really like and whether or not they jive with me. I love Portal. I think Portal is great. One of the other, beloved puzzle games of the past several years was The Witness, and I think is dirt boring. And could not care about it at all. So I was going into this wondering, like, after hearing that people, kept playing after they finished the game and, spent like 100 hours playing it and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if that'll be the case for me.
It's interesting because I'd heard rumors and rumblings on this game quite a few months, like 6 to 7 months ago. There was an article that came out last like August, I remember, that I was reading. Because, back then I was doing research for the podcast. It's just now that I've gotten lazy. But yeah. It was, someone was like, it's all like, this game's already my 2025 game of the year, and it's not, it's not even out yet because they've just been playing a demo of it in 2024. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll keep an eye on this. Because it's got a really interesting concept, right? So it's a roguelike kind of puzzle solving video game where you're in this manor, and the idea is this manor has 45 rooms, and you need to, in order to beat the game, find room 46. which
Yeah.
is the whole idea behind it. And every day you can explore the manor to your heart's content, well, for as long as you can, basically. And it's randomly generated each time. And basically, you got to take what you learn from the rooms in that run. You can get key information or key like upgrades that you can take with you. But other than that, the next day you come back to the manor and it's in a completely different order and you have to build it all up again in the aims to try and find this mysterious 46th room, which is a really
Yeah.
interesting concept for a roguelike game, really. Um,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was how it was gonna, get the hooks in, but I think the, kind of simplicity of the idea as far as, you know, make sure you're just make sure you create a path to the because it gives you like it's not the 46th room, it's like an antechamber
mhm,
at the top is what they show that to you and they're telling you, oh, this is where you want to try and get to and all of it. So the simplicity of just put the rooms together in a way that makes a path there is enough was enough to just compel me to keep trying again for a lot of the time because the way that they put they managed to balance it in a way that you're not just doing whatever you want. You do have to think about it. Like you get 50 steps at the start of each run is how they calculate like your stamina or
mhm,
health, I guess, and passing in and out of a room or passing from one room to the next, s- is how that ticks down. So you get 50 and, you know, so if you're just mindlessly running back and forth, that'll be something that just stops you dead. Um, or there are also like items you can get if you find like the kitchen or the dining room or something, there'll be, food for you to regen some of that and so on, along with other things. The main two blocks in your progress will usually be doors that are locked. So, you want to find keys. Each uh each room that you make will usually tell you if there's something well, if there will be something in there for sure, it will tell you. So, for example, there's this one called like the storeroom, which will have one of a coin, a gem, and a key.
mhm,
And there might be something extra in there, there might not. Like some rooms, they won't always have a key, but if you're looking around for it, it might be there, you know, that kind of
mhm,
thing. Um, so trying to keep a balance of like spinning the plates of having the keys and the gems both because you need the keys to actually unlock the doors, but the gems oftentimes will be what you need to open doors or make rooms that, actually go to where you need to be. Because there were a few times where I've been screwed over where it was like I didn't have any gems, so I could only make the door or the room that was didn't cost anything, and that was a dead end, and thus brought my run to a unfortunate demise at the end of it. There, um, what else we got going?
it's really interesting, right? Because it's like obviously you've got this kind of like you say, this meta game of trying to build this path in the correct way to try and get to the end, but you've also got these puzzles within the rooms themselves to try and edge ever closer to trying to come up with a solution. Um, One that I saw pretty early on. Like I say, I haven't had a chance, unfortunately, this week to get around to it. I was planning on it, but things got in the way, life got in the way. So I was watching a couple of people have a go at it and see what they were thinking about it. And, just seeing little puzzles, like very much classic puzzle game things of here's three statements. One of them's true and the other two are lies. Can you figure out which one's which? And I'm sitting there because I'm in backseat gamer mode, not playing, or I'm like, it's clearly that one. That one's the wrong one. And they pick the different one. I'm like, dumbass. Like, you're dead to me. Like, come on.
It's yeah, one of its I think the caveat there is that one of them is definitely true, one of them's definitely false, and one of them is 50-50.
Hmm.
So that's how it because usually I am able to figure those ones out. The other because that's one of the ones that is like that's one of the main puzzle rooms you get and is usually in like the pool of things that you'll get pretty early on. The other one's the billiards room, which It has nothing, which you don't even actually interact with the pool table. You're playing with the dart board, with which is just like a bunch of mathematic puzzles essentially. Where I forget. I eventually saw the note that kind of told me what the deal was, like the color coding for whether or not the number or which color means addition, subtraction, and so on.
Yeah.
But that one is, the more I do it, the more annoying it becomes because they've started throwing stuff at me that I struggle to understand now. Because at first it was just basic blue means addition, yellow is subtraction, pink is multiply, and purple is divide. That's easy enough. You can figure out every step of what you need to do with just those. Then eventually it was like, the bullseye. If you got a bullseye on there, I'm unclear. I'm unsure of what that means still. I haven't figured that out. At first I thought it might be like exponents, but like, yeah, or like the most recent one I got, the most recent evolution of this stupid dartboard puzzle was that there was like a slice of one piece highlighted, like a sliver of it. I'm like, I don't know what that means. I was like, because division was already one of the things. Otherwise, that would have been what I thought of. And like, because of the way numbers work, you can kind of intuit, even if you don't know exactly what they're trying to get across, you can kind of intuit what you can narrow down your choices so that you're not just going around the entire
Yeah.
dartboard trying to shoot. Because, like, if if you only have even numbers interacting with each other, then that cuts your choices in half because you can't really make an odd number out of even numbers. You know,
Mhm.
so you just gotta, if you don't know what they're trying to get at, once it gets real stupid, just think about your total possibilities and go from there. Uh,
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely not a game, at least at the moment. I think they're working on a patch. If you're colorblind, God help you with this video game. I salute you and wish
oh
you good
yeah,
luck
jeez.
because the amount of puzzles that are in this game that are just to do with colors in general. There's so many that are just color based that it's like, oh, yeah, good luck. Just
Yeah,
like have fun.
that just reminded me of another thing is, there's this thing that you see if you go to like the security room, there will be this thing and will be like red notices are lies, blue notices are true. So if you're
Mhm.
colorblind and you read the safe code and you're wondering why it doesn't work when you find a safe, um, because it was the red piece of paper, that would be unfortunate.
But no, like this game very much reminds me of kind of classic escape rooms. Like, if you've ever done an escape room in person, it very much feels that kind of way inclined in terms of their puzzles and the way that you solve them. And it's like, you just kind of want to look everywhere. You're like, you're looking in every nook and cranny, just trying to, like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
is it the bookshelf? Is there something in the bookshelf? It's just like, you just kind of have to really go out of your way to try and figure it out. And I really like that because I love escape rooms. I think escape rooms are pretty fun, especially if you're doing them with people. Um, but a lot of video games that are like based on escape rooms, I can think of was it Escape Academy was one that I think was on like Xbox Game Pass a
That
while
was
ago.
one that came out a couple years ago. Yeah.
I think I might have mentioned it on the podcast because I did play it, but I really liked it because it was like very much in that, especially at the start, it was very much in that vein of it's an escape room, but then it gets very quickly video gamey in the way of and now you're climbing in, now you're in an escape room which is quickly filling with water, so you've got to solve all these puzzles this way, and stuff like that. It kind of
Mhm.
very much steps out of it, whereas this genuinely does feel like some, obviously, one solo developer has maniacally been working away on this extremely elaborate escape room that you
Yeah.
can't even, you know begin to understand in one run because of how procedural it is in the way that it works. I'm just like, my god, I can't tell if you're a genius
I
or
do think
completely insane.
the I do think the game does a good job at like getting most of the point across pretty quickly as far as like I checked back on my like, because it gives you a record of like the way that you built out your manor.
Mhm.
so you can like look at that. Then I like earlier when I was getting ready for the show, I just checked back to see, and like by like day 4, I was already like one room away from touching the antechamber, essentially.
Mhm.
So it doesn't. So it was very good at like providing the carrot on the stick that way because I've never really felt like I would hit a wall completely, that kind of thing. Like the couple of times I didn't go anywhere, it was mostly just bad luck, and I was like, what can you do? At least I didn't lose that much, kind of deal. They've got items in the game that will, some of them really help you out as far as like the metal detector. The first time I got that, it gave me a much better idea of just looking around more places than just where I had already seen items because,
Yeah.
it'd beep when you find it. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think keys could be in this room. And then it'd be like just sitting on the couch next to a box or something kind of deal there.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was nice. Uh, let's see. The there's a bunch of there are rooms there, specifically the red rooms that specifically will negatively affect you. Those aren't a lot of fun. Like,
Mhm.
there's one that'll take money from you every time you pass through it. So, what I like about these is that much like the rest of the game, there's like little workarounds for it. If you know, if the chips fall in the right place, like if you get the lavatory, which is just the bathroom, that
Mhm.
it doesn't do anything. It's basically the reason it's a dead end room with nothing will be in it. So if you just kind of get that on the if you're like moving to the first like corner to the left or right, that's probably a good place to drop that if it'll let you so it doesn't show up later and ruin your day.
Yeah.
So or like the cathedral or chapel or whatever it was called that takes your money, dropping that early before you have any money and then, making your rooms to not have to pass through it again is a workaround for that one. Um, there's on top of the keys that in doors that are locked via just the regular traditional keys, there are also like security doors that unlock via a key card. But you
Mhm.
can turn that off if you manage to. Like the way like if you don't find the key card, but you can drop a utility closet is the room. You can shut the security system off, and then if you get the security room, you can set the computer to be like the doors will open if the system is offline, kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's just a number of it's very like it's this fun combination of like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom as far as being able to, solve these puzzles in whatever way you choose to approach them. And then like with procedurally generated aspect of it because you're always like learning something as you go or just even when you're I'm not really trying to, I kind of subliminally absorb something that I remember later. So it's kind of like a almost Hades like in that way as far as the roguelike element there where I never really feel like unless I do one where I've just like looped around in rooms that I've already been in and couldn't go forward, I've never really felt like it was a wasted run.
Mhm. I mean, I think it's interesting, right? It's like I feel like we're at that stage of roguelites where a lot of people just at the concept kind of just go like, you know what I mean? There's a sigh of kind of, oh, we're doing this again. But I like that, at
To be
least
fair, I feel like at this point,
in
if you
this
just don't
games,
like a
yeah.
genre, you get that with anybody who doesn't like a specific thing. Like there's not that many, or there's not that many genres that only have a couple things in them anymore.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I think that, at least in my head, I think that this is a more interesting way of doing a roguelite with the puzzle solving elements, with that kind of, trying to puzzle, like piece together the puzzle. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I know how to solve this room now. Like, it's like, yeah, the puzzle may change in terms of what the actual numbers are on the dartboard, but eventually you'll get to the point where it's like, okay, I know how this room fucking functions at this point. Let me just, like, sit down and
That's
figure it
actually the
out.
nice thing about the dartboard. I've been through that room so many times now that I've, like, seen the equations repeat themselves, so I'm like,
Yeah, it's
"Ah,
like
this
you're in the
one's this
Matrix now,
one's
dude. You can
this
see all the
one's
numbers.
12,
Yeah,
I know this
yeah,
one."
hell yeah. And I think that's kind of a
Which is really
fun
nice.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice for when they start, as the stupid math gets progressively more complex, if you just remember what's the solution to what's the certain patterns look like, and that's very helpful if you didn't understand it the first time.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like it's not the most fast-paced, frenetic gameplay of all time. So I feel like in some roguelites, it can really suck if you're, say, playing Returnal, and those runs can last an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you die at the end, and you think that you've got to do all that again. It's but at least with a puzzle, you can take a step away, come back, and then just go, okay, let's go through it again. Let's you just kind of. Or I don't
Yeah.
get that room. I'm just gonna ignore that room for as long as I possibly can and try and figure out something else and work something else out. Um,
Yeah. That's a funny thing. Like, I believe it's the library. There's a book that'll tell you like some of the other fun little factoids about what's been happening in your runs, and we'll be like, here's your most used room, here's your most avoided room. I'm like sitting there like, I don't even think I've meant to avoid these. I just haven't really been
had a
able to
chance to explore them yet.
have
Yeah,
a yeah, haven't had a chance to like set them down in a way that would be advantageous for me.
it's an interesting concept. I like I say, I assume you recommend it at least so far from the bit that you've played Hunter.
Yeah, yeah, as someone who was like unsure of what to really expect as far as if it would click with me or not, I would say that it definitely has, at least in the it compels me to keep going. So if you like puzzles, check it out for sure. The like sense of I don't know, discovery in a way,
Hmm.
I would say. Because like I had one run where I basically blocked myself off after getting a ways into it, but I still had like 20 or so steps left. So I just kind of started walking around outside of the manor for a minute because you can. turn- I didn't do that. Like I did that right at the beginning of the game and realized that was when my steps were going down, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't play around too much. And then I just started noticing a bunch of other stuff out there. Like after a minute, like there was a gate that was locked that I eventually managed to like find the way to unlock. And now I've got like an extra thing I can go do at the beginning of each run, kind of deal. And there are
Yeah,
more doors that I suspect I'll be uncovering where they lead eventually, kind of deal. Or like, yeah,
it's a cool little thing. I'm gonna try and get around to at least having a little play with it at some point in the next week. Um, but no, it interests me. I'm definitely gonna check it out. And if you haven't checked it out yet and you want to, it is on Game Pass. It is on PS Plus Extra, I believe. It is extra. I think it's
yeah,
extra.
yeah. It's the tier 2 of the PS Plus thing.
So, you've got a pretty easy way of checking it out on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation if you don't want to straight up buy it. You can give a couple of bucks to a subscription fee because that's what we like doing in 2025 is
I think it
renting our
was only
games.
like, I think it was only like $30
I think it is
too,
only
if
30
you,
bucks.
which considering the things these days, that's becoming a more and more bargain price for you there.
Get it before it turns to 70.
Yeah,
But no, it's pretty interesting. And then obviously, if you've got, like PS Plus and stuff like that, there's quite a few games coming this month to PS Plus Extra and stuff like that. So it's not a bad investment if you did want to just check it out. Because, like, say, Lost Records has got its second tape coming out this week.
yeah,
There's all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, there's some cool stuff there. Hunter,
yeah.
where on earth do we go from here, dude? This is it now. We're in uncharted territory, ladies and gentlemen. We're plotting the route. We've got
Yeah, it's true.
so many potential places to go, dude. So many
So
potential
many
places.
potential
Yeah,
places to go.
yeah.
I don't know. What have you been doing lately?
Oh, what haven't I not been doing? I don't know. I don't know. My life's not going too great, Hunter, because I like booted up Fortnite and bought the Sabrina Carpenter skin. So my life's a wreck in that regard. Um,
Oh,
But that was just
Yeah.
that was a bit,
And
I
you were
swear.
talking about Crash Bash being a cry for help.
I know, right? Well, to be fair, I am a Sabrina Carpenter fan to an extent of I like some of her music. I'm not like I don't get fan culture in 2025, dude. That I'm not a fan of anything in 2025 because apparently to be a fan you have to go like feral. But you know, I like a lot of her songs. Um, but me and Jack were just hanging out one night, and I can't remember who brought it up, but someone jokingly brought up that Sabrina Carpenter was in Fortnite, and I'm like, well, you know, oh, now as Sabrina Carpenter's number one fan, I've gotta download Fortnite. And Jack was like, same. And so we both downloaded it. And then, unfortunately for Jack, he forgets that Ethan doesn't know when the bit stops. So you know, Jack was just gonna play around in Fortnite. Ethan goes into the item shop and buys the Sabrina Carpenter skin and then plays a game of Fortnite. Um, so yeah, we played um, three or so games, went, oh my god, it's still Fortnite. And this is the reason I want to bring it up is because it's like that game is like video game purgatory. Like it just hasn't changed a inch since I played it in 2017. And I don't understand how people still play it.
Dude,
It
that's the thing.
baffles me.
Like, not to be one of those back in my day kind of people, because I usually don't agree with this kind of behavior, but like kids who only grow up on this, I feel like it's a shame.
It
Like,
is. It genuinely is.
we had a chance to, before there was one game that, everyone our age defaulted to playing, we had to go and like find other things, and it broadened our taste a little bit.
And I
Whereas I
mean,
guess
even
we can hope
yeah.
that these kids would be intrigued by some of the Fortnite skins and see where they come from. Maybe, but I don't really think that's how it goes
Just
most of the time.
I don't know, 'cause it's like, you know, when we were kids and whatever, we had like Minecraft was coming up and stuff like that. So there were games like that. But also, I played other games. I played Minecraft a lot, but I played other games. I played Call of Duty a lot, but I played other games. There are a load of kids that just play Fortnite. And I sit there and I go, why? It's boring as fuck. Like, I was just playing it. I'm just like, this is the same game since 2017. It's boring. So what I decided to do was stop trying to play Fortnite and go and check out some of the other stuff. I'm like, okay, what is all the other stuff? What can you do in Fortnite in 2025? And so I was looking around and it's like, you've got Lego Fortnite, which is basically just shitty Minecraft. It's like, it's garbage Minecraft. So I'm like, oh, that's great.
Oh,
Well done.
right.
That's fantastic.
I
Wonderful.
have a friend who was playing this one time when I like arrived at his. He was playing with another buddy of his when I showed up at his place one time. And
Yeah.
I was like, of all the times to leave my Switch at the house, it was while you were doing this, of all things.
So yeah, I was just like, this isn't my vibe at all. Um, Joke's on you. I'm not 8 years old and I don't have a child. So Lego Fortnite, not for me. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Let's check out what else is here. So then I was like, oh, um, Rocket Racing, which is like a Rocket League kind of thing. Where I'm like, that's fine. It's like a very basic racing kind of game. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Whatever. Like I can kind of understand that. And then the reason Sabrina Carpenter's in Fortnite is because of this Fortnite festival, which is basically Guitar Hero. So what I did was I busted out. I don't think it's here. It is here. I busted out my old Rock Band 4 guitar, plugged it into Fortnite,
Oh boy.
it works, baby. It works.
Well,
So I
that's
was,
nice.
yeah, which is nice because it is made by the Rock Band devs. Because that's what happened to them. They got told they can't make Rock Band anymore. You're making it for Fortnite, baby. Um,
Isn't that what happened to Fall Guys? Does Fall Guys live in Fortnite now?
no, it's still separate. I'm surprised they haven't moved it to Fortnite. Really, they probably should. Because the team looks like it's on life support anyway, so you might as well just fucking kill the thing entirely. But yeah, so I put it in, and I was like, oh, it works. It's like it is just right Rock Band, but you can only play a limited number of songs because oh, that's not good for a podcast. I really should just put this down. But it's really hard because I'm trying to remain looking forward because this mic is only on like one direction. So if I look over to the
Yeah,
side, it's just gonna cut me off. But
yeah.
regardless, right? So I tried it and I was like, oh, this is quite fun. You can only pick like 8 or 9 songs a day or whatever because it's Fortnite, so it's like you can't unless you buy the songs. You can't use them. But I was like, this is kind of fun. So then I sat there and I played like what was essentially Rock Band on Fortnite for about 2.5 hours because I was just like, yeah, this is kind of fun. Uh, did I mainly use it as an excuse to make me feel like I justified spending $15 on a meme skin with Jack, who very quickly left me and did not play
Wait,
Fortnite with
hold
me?
on. That cost $15?
Don't want to talk about yeah, that's
What? Oh, that's insane.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry about that though, Hunter. Then, you ready for the punchline? Here's the punchline. Ready? The final punchline of this joke, ladies and gentlemen, is I then find out after all of this that I actually bought the more expensive Sabrina Carpenter skin. There was a second one that was a part of a battle pass that was only like, $10 or whatever. And it would have given me like V-Bucks and stuff and all that jazz. So I literally went the more expensive route, and then I found out later that I spent more money than I needed to for the bit. And there
Oh,
you go.
jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like half of my week because I didn't have much time to play stuff, and then Jack was doing that. So there you go. My 2025 review of Fortnite is why are we still here? Why have we not evolved from this point of
Why
time?
hasn't society moved
Why
on?
are 8-year-olds not bored of it? That's what I want to know. Because it's like I'm
Dude,
like
I don't get it.
it's so boring.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And like, dude, I think the most annoying thing about this game is like it's so much of a normie thing that I hear like the middle-aged people I work with bring up playing it with their kids sometimes too. And I'm like, please stop trying to talk to me about this game. I don't
I just
play it.
there's nothing to talk about it. That's the thing is it's like you can do a stupid bit like this where you can walk, like I install the game once every couple of years to buy a shitty meme thing from the shop and then close the application. And then 2 years later, I'll reinstall it for the same purpose and then log in and go, where did I buy that? Like, this is what I do with this game, apparently. It's just this stupid meme thing. But it's like, how can people go in it day in and day out and spend all that money? Like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, the only reason I felt comfortable, well, I didn't feel comfortable giving them $15, but the only reason I felt remotely comfortable was because I already had like a load of, well, not a load of, I already had credit on my account, on my BSN account. So I didn't have to actually put more money from my bank account. So boy
Yeah.
math meant it was free. So I just bought it. But it was still like, God, I don't get it. I don't get free to play. I don't get the COD. It's the same with COD. It's the same with everything. The skin kind of era of video games. I just don't understand it.
Call of Duty with its real people
Mm-hmm.
skins especially weirds me out because at least Fortnite, it's like a cartoony facsimile of people. Like Call of Duty is an allegedly realistic rendering of like, you
Oh, there's
know.
nothing realistic about it, dude. Within 2 seconds, you've got zombies running around and everybody's flossing, so it's not realistic in
No,
the
I mean like
slightest.
the graphical style of it, like
Oh yeah,
isn't
you got
supposed
but
to.
it's like rainbows and unicorn pooing everywhere, like like that's what it
Uh,
is within like a month. But it's like, yeah, I don't understand it. I don't know if I was just lucky. I don't want to say lucky, but it's like I don't know if I was lucky in the fact that I got over this during Overwatch, where it's a game filled with characters that actually have personality and are really cool, so I didn't mind that. But it's like I don't care. Like I don't care about this. Like it's just real people is the weird thing as well. It's like, oh yeah, cool. So now I can just go around as Sabrina Carpenter with an AK-47 and shoot a load of people. Sick. It's just very weird. It's just very weird that this is where we've got to, this kind of era of yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's always been the thing that's been weird to me is like it was a seeing or like that's why Call of Duty especially threw me off was just watching these actual people die via
Yeah.
shotgun blast or something. Like that's a harsh fate for Cody Rhodes. Come
Yeah, I
on
know,
now.
right? Feels bad, dude. Feels bad. But yeah, it was very much a slap back to reality of, oh, we talk about all these cool games on this podcast from time to time, and 60% of people only play this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Or one of those other games we're always ignoring.
yeah, yeah, rightfully so. And, I have. I have my moments. I play the occasional game of Call of Duty with a friend or whatever, and I know you've played the occasional game of FIFA and stuff like that with your brother or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever. We all have those moments, but it's just when that becomes like your main kind of consumption in this industry. I'm just sitting there going, why? Like, just why? Why?
Yeah.
Please stop playing Fortnite. Play anything else. I respected Minecraft. I at least respected it, indie studio, boundless creativity. I understood the Fortnite. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, I was mainly so yeah. I've done that recently. That's a good, like I say, that's a good use of $15. Um, at least I hope it was $15. I never really checked. I just mashed the buttons. I hope it was $15 if it was more. Um, yeah. Other than that, I've not really done much. Been playing Death Stranding again. I got my replay of Death Stranding in before On the Beach comes out in late June, which has been
uh,
fun. It's been interesting playing that game again because it's weird because I definitely still felt, especially when I first started playing it. To put this into context, I started playing it before Assassin's Creed came out. Then I played the entirety of Assassin's Creed, and then I went and
oof.
finished Death Stranding. So it was a very weird kind of juxtaposition of playing a game where it was actually kind of addictive to walk around the open world and then go to Assassin's Creed where I wanted nothing to do with the open world whatsoever. But yeah, the game's still really good. Like I'm still sitting there, like my opinion hasn't changed on it. I think some of the writing is a bit off, but what can you do
Yeah.
about that? I
Yeah,
think
I'll give you that, like
I think the pacing is like absolutely dog shit at times. Like there are some moments where I'm like, do we really need to do the part with the chiral artist in chapter 3 where we have to piss about going backwards and forwards from there? Do we need to do that? Really? No. Okay. Cool. Um,
yeah, the pacing's a weird one, like
the bit where you have to
which
go about Lou for a while. I mean, BB. Sorry, spoiler, but bit where you have to go about BB for a while, where it's just like, yeah, Sam, it's me, Deadman. Can you just go to the 6 most fucking awful places on the map for me real quick without BB, and we'll just stick some
yeah.
BTs in the middle? Thanks. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Oh,
No.
it's a shame that by the time you had started replaying this, I was already like doing something because if I had also replayed it, we could have done like a retrospective thing on it before the second one, but it's too
Yeah.
late for that now. uh,
I guess it's a bit late, but it's very interesting playing that game again because when I last played it, I'd just come back from a trip. I was unemployed. We were just about to go into COVID because it was literally December beforehand. So I think we
Playing
were
this game
literally,
on the
yeah,
other side of the pandemic at all must be an interesting experience because I also haven't replayed it since playing it in 2019 either.
yeah. It's a weird one. I can understand why people kept saying, people who played it later into like when director's cut and stuff came out for PC. Well, the original Death Stranding came out for PC. I know a lot of people were like, this feels weird playing this in this kind of, it felt a lot more poignant.
It's too real.
Yeah, a bit real. I kind of, agree. There's a lot of, but I also don't. This replay was not the full experience. I don't think really. Here, let me put my you know, my fucking arrogant fedora on real here. A video game criticism. I don't think you've played Death Stranding properly if you don't sit there and spend all your time doing a load of deliveries in between doing the story. If you just mainline the story, I don't think you play Death Stranding properly. That's my opinion, anyway. Um,
Or at the very least, if you don't just kind of goblin mode grabbing miscellaneous nonsense, it's
yeah,
like
on your way.
two feet away from.
If you're not making a 10-hour detour to make a fucking zipline network, you're not playing Death Stranding
Yeah.
properly. It's just like that's just the way it is.
Because
And
like I didn't even do that many of the like side missions, but very oftentimes, despite not doing that, it'd be like there's some stuff over here. I'd be like, gotta grab the stuff.
Yeah, you gotta grab the stuff, exactly.
Sam's just sitting there like, please stop grabbing the stuff. I can't walk any further. I'll be like,
Yeah.
no, Sam, one more stuff.
But there's definitely, that addictiveness to the gameplay is still there. I still think this game is very much a Marmite game. I can see why people hate it because if you do not like the idea of just walking around, yeah, it can get pretty fucking repetitive real quick. But I don't know. I just find there's some kind of the game has this kind of aura to it where I don't care that I'm just walking around. I kind of just enjoy plodding
It's
along. It's
it's
weird.
weirdly meditative.
Yeah, that's a good word
Yeah,
for it.
that's yeah, because like earlier this year when I played Wander Stop, I had a similar feel because you're just kind of doing stuff while you
Yeah.
wait for stuff to happen. And very oftentimes with Death Stranding, you don't even know which of the main story deliveries are going to actually be when stuff happens. You're still just kind of waiting for things to happen.
I mean, a lot of the time, nothing does happen. You are just walking there and
Yeah,
back, and that's fine. I don't mind that. Um, I do think, like I say, I think a couple of sections are a bit long in the tooth. I think that the game, I think that obviously Kojima really wanted this game to be weird in the way of people, the trailers. What the fuck is going on here? Like, what are we actually doing? And I applaud the bit. I don't necessarily enjoy the fact that everything gets explained to you within the last hour of the game, like quite literally. Like they leave a lot
yeah.
of things
Like
hanging until a fucking monologue with one character at the end, and then watching the Mads Mikkelsen cutscenes all in one go at the end. And I'm like, I like piecing stuff together. I think that's cool, and I like the way they did it. I just wish the game didn't act like you couldn't put the pieces together. Like it's like we have to do everything now, and I'm like,
the crazy thing is like how different the execution works for the two different aspects of like
mhm.
the story. Because I feel like the way that they paid off all the Mads Mikkelsen stuff was really well done.
Yeah,
I feel
I agree.
like I feel like the Amelie stuff less well done,
Oh,
not as
100%.
good.
Amelie
You
in
know?
the extinction entity stuff is my least favorite part of Death Stranding, and it's not even close. That's like my.
Yeah, yeah.
It's boring, and I don't care, and I don't really understand it. But I really, I do like a lot of the characters here. I still think Die Hardman has a great performance. I still think Mads
Oh
Mikkelsen
my
does an
god,
incredible
yeah.
job in this game. I think
Troy Baker.
I think Troy Baker does a fantastic job. I love Hartman. He's one of my favorite characters. I don't know why. I just really like all the stupid stuff that Kojima does with the thumbs up and the just the back and forth. Here's the thing: is you have so many people in this game that just absolutely just fucking vomit out exposition. Hartman was one of the people that I think you don't get that much of him before his section, so I didn't
Yeah.
mind him having those cutscenes, and it was, you know, a bit more interesting subject matter really than the Mama and Loch Ness stuff. Which I still sit there and go, like, well, I don't get what the message was here, Kojima. At the end of the day, I still don't get it.
Why would we have that?
Yeah, no clue.
It was like
Um,
I didn't mind having her sister, be the switch out at the that part though, because I'm like, I refuse to just call you mama the whole game. Get out of here.
And I respect it. I mean,
I'm,
if you're gonna
I'm not
pay,
doing
yeah,
that.
if you're gonna pay for somebody like Margaret Qualley to be in your video game, then yeah, you're not gonna kill her off halfway through and then replace her with a completely different character with a different voice actor. You're just gonna go, yeah, we're kind of the same people, just so that we can just use the same voice lines for the rest of the game.
To be
Like,
fair, like
do
I
it.
would I would I would apply that logic to like anybody else.
Yeah, yeah,
I
true.
wouldn't be shocked if Kojima did kill off somebody who's an expensive actor halfway through and then just not use them
Yeah,
anymore.
true. Um, but for the most part, I still like this game. I still think it's fantastic. I still think there are I stand like BTS are fine. I think some of the areas that BTS are in are a right pain in the arse, but I think that genuinely once you get past Weather Station, which is about 8 hours in, I think the BTS don't become a problem at all for the rest of the game. I did it once again, did not get detected by BTS at all during my entire playthrough, bar the one time you're
Eventually,
supposed to get caught.
Yeah, and eventually, like once you get so far into the game, you have the tools to just
Get
kind of
rid of them.
rush through the area if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't want to engage with them.
And just I'm not that huge on the mules. I think that I don't know. In my opinion, I think BTs were fine enough.
Uh,
I think the mule areas
the
kind
mules
of
were
suck.
the mules were the hostile
Yeah.
human people, right? Okay, I
Yeah,
couldn't
the
remember. I
camps
don't
where if you
remember.
enter their area, the beacons go off and then they start chasing you. Um, and I'm
I
just
don't
kind of
think that
indifferent
was.
on them. I don't care.
It's
Like,
just it's wild to say considering the previous history of Kojima and stealth, but that's like just basic stealth camp stuff in a way that's like one shoulder shrug,
yeah, and for
one
the
way or
first
the
half of
other
the game,
about
they
it.
are completely useless.
Yeah.
And for the second half of the game, they're a right pain in the ass because then they get guns, and it's like, no, 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 Sam, you can't shoot them because you'll cause a void out if you shoot them. You and I'm like, okay, then give me a non-lethal gun. And like, no, 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 Sam, you got to run through
No,
this
no,
one,
no, Crash.
run through this fucking area first, then we'll give you the non-lethal gun. I'm like, well, by the time I've run through, I don't need the non-lethal gun now because I'm never gonna go back there because these mule camps suck. Like,
It's
no,
it's like the
very
one
weird.
Kingdom Hearts. It's one like the one boss in the Kingdom Hearts game that what you get where it's like based. I think it was an optional boss. It was like the flying ghost or whatever,
Hmm.
and you have like a. It's like there was some kind of time limit thing that you could manipulate by using slow or stop or whatever, and you get the third level of that spell after you defeat the thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
When
know what
it's
you're on
the
about.
thing that it would have been
It's
the
the
most helpful.
it's in Peter Pan's area, isn't it? It's that fucking Peter Pan fight where you're in like Captain Hook's quarters, and there's like a thing that you have to. There's a thing flying around in that room that's really annoying to hit. That you have to, yeah, you have to stop it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's been 6 years since I
Yeah, it's
played
been
Kingdom
too
Hearts
long
one.
for me to intelligibly give you every detail, but I had enough of the big strokes there that people know what I'm talking about if
Yeah,
they've
hundred
played the
percent, 100%.
game.
But yeah,
Uh,
I also I think the boss fights are me like they're fine. They're not that interesting in this game, if I'm honest with you. Um,
I couldn't even really tell you what they are.
the
So
big
I know there
whale,
was
the
a
big
yeah,
human,
the big
the
whale.
big
The You have a
the
fist
big
fight with
lion.
pigs, but that's more like
Yeah,
a quick time event kind of deal, wasn't it?
that's
Or no,
fine.
you play hide and seek with him for a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing, right? Is I played the original Death Stranding, and I played this replay as well on the hardest difficulty. And every time we got to a boss, I just lowered it down to the lowest difficulty, not because the bosses were too difficult. It's just because the way that this game's
Sometimes you
difficulty
just can't be
works. For the
bothered.
yeah, the only thing that changes with these boss fights really is either the quantity of enemies that you fight or just the health bar. And I was so bored of chasing fucking Cliff around the
Uh,
war zones and shooting him, and like I was like, get me down to very easy, dude. I literally kill the boss and then go straight back up to very hard. Just because I'm like, I don't want to run around looking for blood bags. Just let me kill him. Like I don't care. Um,
yeah.
there's some cool set pieces though still there. The war areas are pretty interesting. Um, we'll see. It's I like Death Stranding a lot. I think it's still a great game. I like it quite a bit. Um, there are still
It's
plenty of ways though
definitely
that yeah, go on.
yeah, it's definitely the kind of thing that regardless of how you feel about it is like a playing the game kind of experience. You should at least be happy that it exists
Oh yeah, 100%.
since, games don't get this weird very often and, the further into the existence of gaming we get, the less weird people are willing to be.
Yeah, 100%. And like I say, I think the game's pretty great. I like it quite a lot. The only criticism I have of this game is I genuinely think there should be a toggle in this game after you beat it to just turn all the other stuff off. Turn the BTs off, turn the enemies off. Just let me walk around. Because like
Oh yeah,
genuinely,
that would be cool.
just having the game as a delivery simulator of just walking around and building stuff, I would just really enjoy that. Like genuinely, sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like walking through BT territory, but I'd be more than happy to just walk around the map doing orders just for fun without all the stuff. because the world itself is a puzzle enough trying to traverse it. So, um,
Yeah, that's very true.
but other than that, I'm sure there's a mod for that. There's probably a mod on PC that just removes every fucker. Who knows? I don't know.
Remove all obstacles.
I just like I say, there's some really fun moments in Death Stranding that I forgot that I was like, oh yeah, remember when one of the people just randomly dies? One of the people that you're giving deliveries to. Remember that happened? Uh,
Yeah.
remember the guy that I don't want to spoil it if you haven't played the game, but there's a guy that asks you to deliver pizzas from the most unhinged places on the map. Just fun stuff like that. There's a load of goofy stuff. There's some really fun writing. The localization team did a
Remember-
really good job on some of the writing.
yeah.
Overall, I still like Death Stranding. It's pretty good. Oh shoot, you disappeared for a second there, Hunter. I apologize.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, no, it was my fault, not
I'm a
yours.
ghost.
I know. You died. You're the.
I'm the Death
You turned into
Stranding.
you turned into a BT. Oh no. Um, I don't know. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up, Hunter?
Oh, I don't know. I've been piddling about with a bunch of random nonsense, but I'm not really sure if that much of it generates interesting conversation. Like I've been slowly going through playing Persona 4 for the viewing benefit of one of my friends.
Right before a remake
But
comes out.
to be fair, I started that before the domain thing was known. But
It's all good.
we
It's
had
not
a
June yet. We can
we
pretend it doesn't
we,
exist.
we had a proper laugh about that when that became the uh, public knowledge. Uh, Replayed the Devil May Cry series in anticipation for the show that just came out, but we all know my opinions about those games,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know. Uh,
I mean, it's
oh
been more of a quiet time. That's the thing. It's just like I'm
yeah,
just don't have that much time for games at the moment. When I have, it's just been like I say, chipping away at stuff. Finished Assassin's Creed. I'm so indifferent on that video game. It's not even like I don't know how to fathom it. Really, I'm so checked out of that game. I was so done by the time it was over. The story is such a nothing burger, and the combat is all right. It's better than Valhalla's, but I'm just sitting there going, my god. I didn't want to write a
yeah.
review for it because I'm just like I feel like I'm exactly hashing out what I said about Mirage in that the fact that it is a it's trying to be a jack of all trades and a master of none yet again. Stick that 3 or 5 symbol on it and then just go copy and paste. There was genuinely a part of me that was like, I should just copy and paste my Assassin's Creed Mirage review, change every single thing to just be slightly like that, and say right at the start of it that if Ubisoft can't be fucked to make a new video game, then I can't be fucked to make a new review. Um,
You know what you could do rather than writing a full review, you could just like make this a short only review.
oh
Do
yeah, I
it in
could
a
make
minute.
a
Because you
make a
could
short.
writing a 8 minute or so review about a game that you described as oatmeal might be a little hard, but you could probably manage to do a minute about it.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know. I just modern Assassin's Creed just does nothing for me. It's like I know a lot of people again kind of marmite on the present day stuff and all that jazz. But I'm like, it's taken all the weird charm out of Assassin's Creed. It's like, yeah, I thought that the whole aliens, the predecessors, the Juno gods were, Juno and the gods were stupid and a bit dumb. But also, that was what made Assassin's Creed kind of sci-fi was the animus glitching and the weird artifacts and the weird history behind it. And taking all that away, you're just left with a very mediocre historical RPG. Like that's all you're left with.
In theory, if they like if we're to drop the present day stuff and, make their historical story better, like in theory, if you're not focusing on the one half so much, you should be able to improve the other half. Like the stories that you were writing when you were still doing the other part shouldn't be better than the one that you're focusing all of your attention on. But that's not how it went.
Yeah,
you know,
but I
it's
just I don't know. I sit there and
silly.
I'm like, yeah, I sit there and I'm like, why, at this point, what is Assassin's Creed? At this point, what is Assassin's Creed? Was like it's the ship of Theseus, dude. If everything that made Assassin's Creed is gone, is it still Assassin's Creed? If
Yeah,
we've
that's a
removed
good.
every
It's like,
element of Assassin's Creed that made it what it was, is it the same video game franchise anymore? Or is this
it's
just a
like,
shitty historical RPG franchise that isn't Assassin's Creed? Because like they don't even mention again, they've barely mentioned the assassins in this game. They're just basically a throwaway line, and now he's got a hidden blade that she took
uh,
from her dad, who was clearly an assassin, but you're not. And unlike Assassin's
yeah,
Creed 2, they never bring it up and make it a big deal and make it all about the Brotherhood. I don't know. Like I say, the last Assassin's Creed game that was actually about assassins was Assassin's Creed Syndicate back in 2016, or was it 15? I think it was 15.
I think it was 15. Yeah, because I think I remember hearing about the DLC the year I graduated, even.
Yeah.
So
And so it's like, what are we doing anymore? Like, genuinely, I just sit there and like, it's just a
yeah, what are we
mediocre
doing?
RPG. Like, it's like if I want to go and play a historical RPG, there's not like other people aren't doing it. Like, say, go play Ghost of Tsushima. You could go and play fucking, you know, Kingdom Come Deliverance. There's plenty of games that
Yeah, that second game is
are
apparently really good according to people.
that like those kinds of games. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. But it's just like Assassin's Creed just does nothing. It's just a tick box exercise. And the funny thing is the tick boxes aren't even fun. We used to joke about Assassin's Creed being boring as shit, but at least it was just like collect some chests or some feathers. Whereas now it's like,
yeah.
do you want to do some meditations? No. Do you want
That's
to
the other
go?
thing that's wild for this series is like as a period piece, it doesn't because like usually like games that are like in some kind of semi-historical setting, I'll vibe with a little bit because I like the idea of being in that setting.
Yeah.
That's why I like Red Dead more than I'll ever like Grand Theft Auto. The
Yeah.
Wild West is cool. Modern
Yeah.
day criminals are chumps.
Yeah.
And like even Assassin's Creed can't seem to do that anymore either. It's
It just,
crazy.
yeah, it's just all over the place, really. Where I just came out of it at the end of it, and I'm just like, I'm just like fucking like what's the point? What is the point? Like what is the point of this? Like
What are we
genuinely,
doing?
the only pros that I have against it, like towards it, was like, oh well, it only took me like 40 hours to platinum or 50 hours to platinum instead of Assassin's Creed Valhalla's 120 or whatever it took. It's like, oh, it's about a third of the length of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Let's respect it on that basis, I guess. Whether it's like, oh, now it
It
only
didn't.
wastes 40 hours of my
It
life
only
instead of
wasted a
120.
third
Yeah.
of your time.
Yeah, it's just, I just sit there now. I'm just like, what a fucking mediocre game. Like, genuinely. Like,
Uh,
it looks nice. I think some of the characters are alright. That's about it. That's all I've got to say. And I think it's stupid. I think there's no good. I think the narrative is absolutely awful. I think this stupid kind of obsession with modern Assassin's Creeds being having there's 12 Templars that you need to take down, and you can take them down in any order, which means there is no fucking character progression in the entire video game because you got to assume that all of them can be done at any time. So they're all mini arcs with characters you don't care about, with the main characters learning nothing in the process. Every single one. Stab the guy. Where's the box? I don't know where the fucking box is. Dies. Stab the next one. Where's the box? I don't know where the fucking box is. Okay. Stab the
uh,
next one.
uh,
I don't know. Like, it literally is that until the last person is like, here's the box, and that's the end. I'm like, don't bother then. Like, genuinely,
I
like
feel like,
like it's just
dude,
dumb.
there are better ways to if you like. I feel like 12 is excessive for that kind of thing at all.
Yeah,
First of all, but if you wanted to structure it, kill X number of people to progress the I don't know, give them like a key
yeah,
pieces of a key that come together or something. That's what the old games did with the goofy Eden pieces, right?
and yeah, and say what you want about the old games, they were the structure of them was not very complex. Let's be kind, but at least for every single sequence, you got a narrative of what had that person done, what was going on. Let's have a couple
Yeah.
of unique missions and stuff like that. Everything was tied to sequences that progress, so you'd learn information about your next target during this current one, or you'd hear about the, for example, you would hear about the Borgias pretty early
Yeah.
on in Assassin's Creed 2. This game is just like it's usually like 2 or 3 missions. The amount of times, Hunter, that because I was already going and ticking off boxes elsewhere, that I had already got the requirements of the mission just ended. Like, I need you to go here and collect this item, and I already fucking collected it when I was stabbing somebody else earlier. Oh, thank you, mission complete. You already did a mission, and you didn't even know it. So that thing you thought was just a side activity, no, it was actually a main activity that you just did beforehand. I'm like, great, so much
At least
personality.
like when Zelda did that, those are all side quests where you could accidentally complete the quests
Yeah,
upon receiving them, you know?
yeah, it's just it's absolutely just forgettable. It's just boring, and it's just like, ugh.
Ugh, yeah.
That's I just sigh. That's what I did, and it's like I was speaking to my father, and my father was like, "You've already finished it already." I'm like, "Well, I did everything I needed to do to finish the story." He's like, "You're not gonna do any more," and I'm like, "No, like that's it. Like I'm done." Anything, everything of substance was there, and even that was lacking. So I'm good. Thank you, though. Uh,
Oh, it's a bummer too, because aside from it being like shorter, this doesn't leave very much hope for the Witch Trials game either.
I
As far
hope
as
I
you
think
know,
it's like here's the thing: is it's like I will play Black
so at least
Flag
if that
again when the
disappoints
remake comes
me,
out for Black Flag. I'll play Black Flag remake because I look forward to it. I hope they don't bastardize it. If they turn that into an RPG like the new ones, I will actually cry.
oh no,
Um, and I'll give Hexay a chance because Hexay is interesting to me, but
yeah,
I think that's when I jump off the ship. Like, if you remake the old ones that I like and you remake them in a way that they're still the ones I like, I'll happily play them. But like these new Assassin's Creeds just do nothing for me. These boring, bland sandboxes with 100 hours of gameplay that you don't really want to play. Nah, I'm good. Thank you though. Um, and on that wonderful positive note,
Mhm.
we'll leave you there. All links are on screen right now if you want to go follow us on Twitter or Blue Sky and keep what we do outside of the podcast. Next week, I don't know what we're doing next week. Probably a topic, something along those
yeah.
lines. But
Well, if you play Lost Records, we can talk about that one.
we could potentially.
Yeah.
That's asking a lot of me though, Hunter. Me play a video game?
Yeah, no.
That's quite impressive if I do that. We'll see what happens though. We'll talk about something for sure. But yeah. Thank you ever so much for hanging out with us. Sorry if it's a bit more low key this episode, but it happens sometimes. You
That's
can't
how it
have
goes.
not all of them can have presentations and random nonsense in the middle of them. Okay, sometimes
It's true.
you just gotta sit here and talk about games. But hey, it's so good. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more. But until then, have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.